Good morning. Hello, my loves. I am so happy to be here. I love bringing you guys every week some remarkable women who've done extraordinary things in their lives and have built beautiful online businesses. And today I'm bringing on Dominika, who is the brain coach. And she has worked with lots and lots of clients. Here she's coming. She's going to tell you all about it, how to create contagious happiness in your life. And let me see where she is. Hi, my love. I'm going to put you on here. Invite. Let's see. Okay, I just sent you an invite. There she is. Good morning,
Hey,
Dominika.
hey, how are you, lovely lady?
I'm good. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful and fantastic. Don't you see my beautiful blinds?
They're great. They're awesome. I'm so happy that you're here. Hello for everyone who's hopping on here. Good morning.
Hello,
Awesome.
hello.
Dominika, let's jump right in. Just tell my audience a little bit, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, guys. Well, guess what? I am a living proof of the fact that from being miserable, unhappy, successful, pretending to be alive, not fitting in, being frustrated and angry, you can go to happiness that's encoded in your DNA with no influence of the outside world. So the outside events cannot phase and cannot change how I feel inside for longer than a few minutes. Don't get me wrong, we do need to feel whole spectrum of emotions, but I am able to go back to my happy place when I decide that it's okay now to be happy again. And trust me, if you've been to trauma like me, you have been beaten up or raped, or you have lost a child like I have, a living child, not only a lost pregnancy, but a 16-month-old boy. If you have lost everything in your life, you can get back to the place that is your happy place. And guess what? It's not the world. It's you who needs to work on it. And trust me, it is so worth it. Life is so much easier. And it doesn't mean you won't experience anything that's challenging. No, 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 no. That's not true. But how you handle it, it's going to be very, very different and much easier on your nervous system and your brain. And now I have a question for you, my dear.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite question that I ask everybody. Who would you be if you would now lose all your memories and all your reference points that are stored in your brain?
Who would I be?
Mm-hmm.
I, I would feel I would be like I am today, like the same person. No?
Well, what
No?
makes you you?
What makes me me?
Yeah.
What makes me me? That's a really good question. Huh. I don't know how to answer. That's so
Good.
interesting.
That's fantastic. That means we're in a point where you can grow.
Wow. Yes, I believe that. Oh, I believe we're always in a place of being able to grow and expand in any place of life, right?
Yep, absolutely. And we grow every time. We don't grow when we're in a comfort zone. When we know the answers, when we know what we're doing, you know, that's not a place of growth. That's a place of comfort, which is also important because we cannot grow 24/7 or we would go absolutely crazy. We need to retract, to regroup, to regenerate, to get our energy, the feminine or the masculine, whichever you prefer. Um, Yet, the moment we don't know how to answer, we don't know how to act, we should embrace that. So, what I do, for example, for my brain growth, for my growth as a human being, I
Mm-hmm.
try new things. And the moment I feel like a total failure, I go, okay, this is a place of growth. That means I got to do it again. And
It's
one of those
amazing.
experiences was learning Kazumba. And I do dance,
Oh,
guys. I dance, and I used to dance for 8 years. So I know how to dance and, samba, rumba, cha-cha, waltzes, and all this other stuff. And then I went to Kazumba. Oh my freaking Lord. I failed so miserably. You cannot imagine. Anyway, definitely a learning experience. And I left the room so mad at myself. And then I put myself in check and I'm like, hey, girl, what are you doing? You knew you don't know this. You assume that because you know how to dance, you can pick up on any dance. Well, guess what? That's not true because Kazumba has rules that nobody follows, that you have
Hmm.
to let go of your control totally. You cannot anticipate, and it's so out of your comfort zone. And that means you got to do it because the moment you learn this, you will be a different human. You will go to
Absolutely.
another level. So, to answer the question I asked before, when we lose our memories, our reference points, and our experiences, which are stored in our brain, we become, again, just people who feel. What
Hmm.
happens is you will have your intuition still. You will feel comfortable or uncomfortable, safe or unsafe, but you will not be you because what makes you you in your brain is what you learned and what you can refer to learn from. And this is, you cannot imagine anything you have never experienced.
Right.
So it's all combination of the past. If you lose that, you're carte blanche. You can recreate yourself, but then you can become somebody totally else. And that's what happens when we don't take care of our brain. And that's
Mm.
why brain coaching is kind of making you realize, and that's not the answer for a question, what makes you you? Because that question you got to answer yourself. You got your
Right.
homework now. um, but brain coaching is phenomenal because it takes into account that we're a whole human. It's not only our intuition, it's not only our heart, it's not only thoughts. And notice I'm not saying our thoughts because none of the thoughts are ours. They become ours through assimilation. That's a different story. Anyway, so it's our environment and how is our body functioning. So, to give you a very simple example, as a brain coach, I ask, it's not mandatory, but besides taking all the tests, brain tests prepared by Dr. Amen, and us checking your environment, asking you a lot of questions, what we do, we also look at your blood work. And you go,
Mm.
why would you look at somebody's blood work when you're coaching them? Well, there's a really cute analogy that it just came out one day when I was explaining that to somebody. So when you are building a house, and we have the three little piglets, right? And they built a house from hay. The wolf came and blew down the house. Now, hay is a building block, but is it strong enough to withhold what's happening to you? Well, not really. Then they built it from, the wood building that three little piglets that built. He came, blew the house down. But then they built it from bricks. And bricks are your micro elements and what you have in your blood. If you are missing B6, B12, D3, iron, ferritin, all those things, and a few other ones, we can build all we want, but these houses will be made out of hay and wood, not out of.
Mm. Wow, that is so fascinating. So you are taking blood work from your clients and do an analysis
If they
to
agree,
help them build a stronger foundation for their business and their life.
exactly. Because
Wow.
if you are unhealthy, if you're unstable, your brain pulls everything. Most of your serotonin and all your happy hormones are generated in your stomach. Neurotransmitters, 80% are built in your stomach. And your blood work kind of shows what is getting to your brain through those tiny, tiny veins. If you're
Hmm.
not giving the building blocks to your brain, you will not make as good decisions as you would if you would be in the optimum. And notice I'm not saying in the norm. That is also very, very important because what people go, oh, doctors even say that, not holistic doctors, but regular ones. They go, oh, you're in the norm.
Hmm.
Well, the problem with the norm is that the norm is from, let's say, D3 is from, I believe, 30 to 100. If you're at a 30, you need some heavy D3 implementation in your blood because optimum is between 60 and 80. That's the
Mm.
optimum. Now, are you in the norm? Are you going to be functioning? Of course you are. Yet, you would be functioning much better if it was in the higher range. And a lot of people go, oh, I'm in the norm, I'm in the norm. The norm is also when you're my age and I'm 47, that you start forgetting things. but that's not optimum. And there are ways to change how your brain functions and how you remember things. So, you forgetting things, that's not an optimum. Yeah, it is something that you're doing.
Wow.
But again,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So I
No,
love what I do, as you can tell.
it's so fascinating to me, all the things that you're saying. So you're saying because I work with a lot of female coaches, right, in the online world. So you're saying if we would check their blood and really like make an analysis just from a physical standpoint, they can perform so much better and more effectively and build a much
Absolutely.
stronger foundation.
Absolutely. Because you will provide the building blocks for your brain, for your creativity, whatever else you're doing. So another thing is sleep. And there is this whole mythology, I work so hard, 4 hours, asleep a day.
Horrible.
Horrible. There is a study done, I believe, on 5,000 soldiers that when you sleep 7 hours, you become 97% accurate at a shooting range next day. If you sleep 6 hours, it drops down to 50. Then they had people sleep 5 hours and 4 hours over a longer period of time. At 4 hours at a shooting range, they were 18% accuracy.
Wow.
Would you like somebody who's at 18% accuracy make decisions for you?
Absolutely not.
Would you make those decisions for yourself? Heck no. So
Wow.
it's a myth that we need to work 24/7. We're less effective and we work longer if we don't take care of ourselves. And it's so, so important. And that's why holistic coaching, the way I coach, is a little bit different than everybody else because it takes a little bit more into account. Outside of your values, your belief system, all of that. Yet everything is stored in your brain, and you need to treat this organ as an organ that you can fix. Imagine going to a cardiologist. Oh, yes, there's a problem with your heart. You're going to a cardiologist. He asks you a few questions, looks at you, goes, okay, let's have a surgery. You have a problem with your heart. He never looked at it. He never took into consideration. He never took any tests. And he diagnoses you based on what you said? Like, really? Would you like him to cut into you? Because I wouldn't.
Crazy. I want to come back to your statement that you said life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and talking about a lot of women who are starting in the online world that feel uncomfortable, and that uncomfortable feeling makes them feel inauthentic. How would you help people just balance their nervous system, or whatever tips you have to make people feel more comfortable of showing up and really making their vision, their dream a reality? How do you support them?
That's a fantastic question. And I've went through it. I'm sure you went through it. And every one of us went through it. That is very normal. So first of all, you're like a million other people or billions of other people. You're no different. So if you think you're the only one, let me tell you, you're not. Join the club. Second of all, what I heard you say, and I might be wrong, but what I've heard you say are two different things. One is an imposter syndrome, and second one is lack of skills in your head and fear of judgment. So it's actually three. So all of these would require kind of different approaches.
Okay.
First thing I would say, everybody has to start somewhere. And remember, every time you can also tell people, hey guys, this is my first, second, third, fifth live. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm learning. Just cheer me on. People love supporting people who are starting because they have something that they don't. Everybody wants to start something and they're afraid of it. When you voice it, you kind of give yourself permission to make mistakes. And people appreciate that because you did something that they didn't have the courage to do. They go, oh my God, yes, I'm going to support her because she's good. And most people wish you well. And when you say, this is my first, second, fifth, 10th, or I don't know, whatever live or video, they go, okay, it's not going to be perfect. So their expectations are going to be different. Second of all, I would love to meet one person in this world that is perfect. Please introduce them to me. Those people don't exist. We
No.
strive for something that is unrealistic. You are perfect the way you are today with the knowledge you have at this moment in time. It doesn't mean you will not change. It doesn't mean you will not grow or change your perspective. Yet at
Mm-hmm.
this moment, with the knowledge you have, you're the best you can be.
Yes.
And it's your choice. Second of all, we think that everybody knows so much more than us. And that comes from the environment you're in. I had that experience a few days ago when my friend, who's also a coach, started saying about things she was doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm just useless. I am incompetent. I am not even halfway where she is. And then my own teaching came back to me. I'm like, Dominica, chill, girl. Chill. First of all, she has a different path than you do. Second of all, you are doing better than you did yesterday, so you're making progress. Do, be inspired by others, but don't compare yourself to others. That's
Mm.
a very different approach. And I went, okay, so she's there. What can I learn from what she's doing so I can improve on whatever I'm doing? And my knowledge and my niche, I'm a happiness coach, is very different than hers. She deals with weight loss.
Mm.
I mean, we are in two different worlds. We promote differently, and it is very, very different thing. So I was, okay, I'm not an imposter because I went from a depressed, miserable, unhappy, although successful, to a successful, very happy, joyful person. And as you can see, I accept my imperfections and then I catch myself and correct that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to be not happy 24/7. Nobody is, including me. Now, people say, oh, go in your peak state. Peak state is awesome if you do it once in a while. There's no physical way of sustaining peak state.
Mm.
Another thing you might want to do to give yourself some strength before you do things that you feel uncomfortable with. And it's going to sound weird, but they did a study on this. Have you heard of the power pose?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do the power pose for about 3 minutes. Grey's Anatomy showed it in where Dr. Shepard is going into her surgery. She did a power pose when she was terrified. And they checked that the level of testosterone and your decision-making process improves by 30% if you stand in that pose for 30 seconds. That tells you one thing. Your body has power over your mind.
Mm.
Mind over body, but body over mind. So if we assume, let's just say, that what you think is what you feel is what you do, and what you do is what you have, then we can reverse that process. We can have and then do something else, feel differently, then think differently. That's why it is crucial to use music, energetic movements, priming, things that involve your body, including dancing. Tell me, have you ever seen anybody who is unhappy when they're dancing?
Yeah, no. Oh, I love this. You have so many like gold nuggets from this conversation already. This is amazing. No, I have never seen anyone unhappy dancing. I love to dance to shift in a different state of being. Absolutely. It's so freeing, so liberating.
Exactly.
Amazing. Yes.
So even when you're in a down state, I wouldn't say depressed state because those are different states, but if you're down, make yourself dance. Literally
Mm-hmm.
put on music that you love, and sooner or later your body will start moving around and dancing. Another thing, when you give me high five, give a high five, and I want everybody to see what's going to happen to you. Give me five to the camera.
Okay. 5?
Good. Okay. So what happened? You blossomed with a huge smile.
Yes.
We are literally taught and primed in our head without us knowing it that we release dopamine and other happy hormones the moment we give somebody high five. We've done it so many times that it's impossible to be pissed off giving somebody high five.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another simple way to change your attitude and state and reduce fear. Now, some people say crying is bad. Crying is phenomenal. Now, don't
Mm.
get me wrong. If you start crying and cry for 8 hours a day, that might not be the best idea. But crying, if you take your tears and put them under a microscope, release cortisol. This is your way of your body outside of movement to get rid of cortisol in your body. So stress hormone. So if you cry and you let yourself cry for a few minutes, you actually release that tension. There's
So
nothing.
cleansing.
It is. And don't get me wrong, don't start crying for 8-10 hours. That's not going to help you. But if you need to burst out crying, my girls, for example, my daughters, they're so interesting because my daughters are 22 years old. They cry when they're really, really upset and they feel helpless. This is actually their typical stress response. They start crying because of stress, and that's how they release cortisol. They don't cry when they're sad, which is very weird. But this is their body. So learning from your responses and then say, okay, I got rid of that. Now time to put myself back into good state. So what you've mentioned with those questions, there are a few things going on. There are value systems. There are belief systems that I'm not good enough. People are going to judge me. I don't know. I think it's Dr. Amen and a few other people that I know that say that, at a certain age, you realize that nobody really cared about you. And they really look at what you're doing.
The thing is also, like, we always believe like everyone is watching us and our journey and so invested in what we're doing. But the truth is, people are so busy with their own lives, like they don't even have the time or the energy to just follow everything that we're doing. So we just gotta take ourselves off that pedestal, like enjoy the ride, have fun with this, serve our people, and just see what magic happens from this place.
Absolutely. That is so well said. Absolutely. Enjoying the journey is a key to happiness.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to relearn how to function in life while enjoying the journey. That is not that easy because most of us really, we're taught that there are goals, and when you achieve those goals, you're happy. And a great question that comes after that: how long have you been happy after you achieved your goal? Was it 1 day, 3 days, a week?
Most not even that long. Like, I will never forget when my first one of my biggest goals was hitting $35,000 a month, and I remember hitting it, and I felt really happy, but then almost like how am I going to sustain this? Like then like other things come in, and I honestly thought my entire life is going to change. And I mean, it was great, but also like it wasn't what I thought it would be, like totally. I will never forget this moment, almost like excited, but also disappointed at the same time. So wild, because I'm a very like goal-driven person. I'm like, okay, when I hit these goals, everything is going to change. And at that point, that's why I'm so passionate about the whole feminine approach now, and really enjoying the journey and the personal, like the self-leadership and emotional intelligence part of it. That moment taught me so much about me and my business.
That is very interesting that you're saying. So I went through a very masculine to a very feminine place, and I enjoy that place much more than the other place that I was in. But I am a feminine person that was led by masculine role models. I mean, I never seen a feminine leader in my life. Now, slowly they're emerging in different places. Yet I have a little bit different perspective than you, and I've taught a lot of men to enjoy the journey. And I don't consider that being feminine. It's just different approach, because a goal is the end. And when you feel it's the end, then you get that feeling of what's going to happen next. Like, do I need another goal? Enjoying the journey takes away the pressure of achieving, and it's a just different approach. And I've noticed you said one really cool thing, and I don't know if your audience heard that. That's quite amazing. We all do that. You're not singled out here. Everybody does that, but I'm talking to you so I can pull it from you and show everybody.
Yes, yeah.
So what you said was, I was achieving this goal, and then, but blah, 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 blah. And you said it was great, but what you did to your brain at that moment, the word but, dismissed the part that it was great. So I encourage everybody, when we say about something that was great, use end. Build on. Don't dismiss your success. because we need to praise ourselves. Our nervous system looks for things that feels good. That's why we're wired for sex, because it feels good. So our brain and body looks for more of things that feel good. If we feel good, it was great that I achieved that success, and you're actually allowing your body to feel good. The moment you say, it's kind of saying, I really like you, but okay, so do you really like me?
Such a good point. Yeah, no, good. Oh, I have so many like gold nuggets from this conversation. This is so fruitful. Thank you so much for sharing all this information. So good. Dominica, just to tell my audience, share a little bit about where can they find you and how do you work with people? What's your program like? Guide them. Where can they find you?
Okay, well, first of all, you can find me by my first and last name, which is Dominika Staniewicz. Then you can find me by Your Brain Coach D on Instagram, Your Coach D, Your Brain Coach D on Facebook. And maybe one day I'll build a website. So far, I haven't had a need. So that's another thing how you can find me. You can always email me, Your Brain Coach D at gmail.com. And you can find me on YouTube. You can email me there. I'm everywhere and nowhere. Basically, how does it work? You reach out to me. We schedule a discovery call. It's absolutely free. We have a chat. We see if I can help you. And I have a rule that I do not work with people whose experiences are foreign to me. So, for example, if you are looking for a coach, if you're addicted to alcohol, or drugs, I have a coach that I definitely can recommend that went through it and came on the other side. And I'm happy to recommend. I do not work with situations that I have literally no clue what you're feeling. So I only coach on things that I've experienced. That's one thing. And we have a conversation. If you enjoy talking to me, we sign a contract and you have a choice of 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Every week or every other week coaching, whatever feels better for you. I give you millions of tests and things to fill out. I ask you to do certain blood work, and it's your choice. If you want to share the blood work, great. If not, we can work without that. Yet it's going to be much more effective if we kind of combine the conventional and unconventional medicine. Yeah. I do not prescribe medication. I don't do anything like that. But I do teach you about natural remedies that you can try before you go to the modern medicine. And that's Dr. Amen's approach also. He is a psychiatrist that trained me. And what we do, we first work with you with all possible natural remedies. And then if that doesn't work, we transfer you to a medical professional who can prescribe medication and work with you in a little bit more enhanced way while we support your mental state. So that's another thing. And I work with basically if you're unhappy or don't feel you fit in, or you're miserable, or you're angry, or you have anxiety that you don't know where it's coming from. Imposter, all of that influences your happiness. My job is to find the quickest way for you to be happy no matter what happens in the outside world.
So beautiful. Wow. That's like takes so much pressure off. It's so good. I love listening to you. I will definitely link all your information below so people can find you. Thank you again for taking the time today and sharing all your wisdom so generously with us today. It was such a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
It was an absolutely honor to be your guest. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for listening.
Awesome. Have a beautiful day. Bye, you guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.